Hey y'all, it's Alicia. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to do a different type of video with y'all today. As you can see by the title, we're doing a design with me. I'm designing this dress. It ended up being a mini dress, but we'll talk about how it got there later. But anyways, if you're new to my channel, thank you for tuning in. I am a fashion designer, digital marketer. I love to cook, love to explore, love to read. So it's a little bit of everything on my channel. And yeah, if you are into people or things that are like that, are very multifaceted, I call myself the multifaceted hottie. If you are into that, stick around and make sure you subscribe and join the family. Let's get straight into this video so I can tell y'all what's going on. Right now I am just designing it out on my laptop and just trying to figure out what I wanted, because I'm a very visual person and I like to see things as close as the final product, as close as to the vision that I see in my head during the design process. And so getting this iPad and really just being able to draw and design in this way has really been a game changer for me and my design skills and journey and everything. So yes, I'm just drawing out, kind of just tracing out the design on my iPad. I took a picture of the fabric that I'm using and I inserted that into Procreate. This is the app that I'm using Procreate and everything, and just to make sure I can get, like I said, close as I can to what I see in my head, to see what the final result will look like before I get there. So a little bit of a cheat code. And right now I'm just erasing the excess from the outline of the sketch. So the thing about me when it comes to designing, like I said, I'm a very visual person, but for the longest, and still to this day, I still use a traditional sketchbook and just sketch out things. But when I want to kind of get, like I said, as close as I can of seeing what the final result will look like, or how I see it in my head, just kind of put it together, I like to do in digital format because it kind of just, it scratches that itch in my brain that makes it make more sense to me and makes it more real to me, so I can get a clear idea of what I want. So right now I am deciding that I want to try to see what a slit will look like in this dress, and so I'm adding a slit into the lower half of the skirt part, and that is basically what I'm doing here. I'm just removing my layers and adding in the slit. If you want a full kind of like walkthrough of Procreate, let me know. I've been using it for a while and I'm very familiar with it, but I'm still learning a lot of things. It's a lot of cool things you can do on Procreate that I haven't learned yet, but for a very, very basic overview, I got you. So let me know if y'all want that. And right now, I'm kind of deciding if I like it or not, and just trying to see what I want to do and a little bit of the process of how I see myself breaking this down, which will make sense in a minute. But I'm just trying to figure it out in this current time of looking at this sketch. But it's a very, I don't know the process, but it's a very like It's like SpongeBob and his minions in this episode of SpongeBob's brain. That's how it looks in my head. Okay, so anyways, now I am draping my fabric, but this is not the fabric I'm using. I use a similar type of fabric to the actual fabric I'm going to use to get a more idealistic version of what it will look like and how it's going to flow and sit. So I'm using this like satin white fabric on this mannequin on my dress form, and I'm just pinning it down the center. I always start with pinning it down the center so it can get a straight version, so it can, like, I can cut it correctly and nothing's off, because I'm using this as my pattern making. And yes, I'm just draping on the mannequin on dress form, potato, whatever. I'm just draping, I'm pinning everything down and putting things into place. I left below the waistline, I left that loose because it didn't necessarily need to be pinned. I believe I left it loose. I don't think I pinned it. But since the dress is like flowy, it didn't need to be pinned to the body at that point because it doesn't really, it won't really affect anything. And I'm just using this marker and using my sketch that I made on my iPad, and I'm using that as my guideline. And right now I just drew the little opening from the neckline to the middle of the bust because it's a curved opening, and it's going to be a halter top, so it has like a curved cut out right there. And I drew that on the mannequin to make sure I get an accurate visual of it. And now I'm just drawing from the neck to under the armpit to get a clear vision of how that will look like on the mannequin, because this mannequin is just like a way that I do it without doing it on myself. If I take a client, or if I'm doing something, like for a client or something like that, and I'm making and I could drape over them, I do that sometimes. But when I'm doing things for me, or I'm doing things for like a collection or something like that, this is kind of the process that I stick to. And oh, this is why I didn't. This is why I didn't attach it to the below the waistline, because I cut this out. So this is what I did. I'm remembering in real time. I'm sorry. But for this dress, I did a seam that was under the bust, and so even though it's like curved, I'm very particular with my seams and how they look in the finished result. Like, I'm very particular with that. So in this case, I wanted to make the halter effect where the seams are under the bust, and it kind of gives a very, not seamless, but it just gives a smoother look to me than trying to do it another way, which is more than one way to do a bunch of different things, but this was just the way that I went about it. But yeah, so once I cut that out, the first top half, I just am pinning it, and I'm making a dart, which I will explain in a second. But I'm pinning it to kind of smooth it out, because when you're draping, you want things to be as smooth as possible. You don't really want any gaps or anything like that, because if you're using your draping process to make your patterns, it's going to reflect in the final product that there's like gaps or any kind of thing that's going on if you don't kind of like rectify it during the draping process. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm putting in a dart in the bust line, well, in the bust part of this design, to make sure it's smooth, and it actually ended up being really pretty in the end. And now I'm adding the bottom part. Let's see if I still keep it loose or not. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It looks like I did. Okay, so now I am just connecting the skirt to this top part where the bust piece is. Oh, and I did pin it. Look at me being professional. But yeah, so I'm just connecting this part, and I'm constantly like looking at it from different angles to see how it looks straight. I'm sorry I'm in the way, but I had to cut it off. I just try to clean it up as I go, so I can get a full version of what it's gonna look like. And now I'm just using my marker as a way to draw lines, because when you're draping, it can be, I like to make my lines clear because they won't always be perfect when you cut it, but if I make my lines clear when I'm like drawing over it, it kind of helps me when it's time to actually like make my draping into an actual pattern. This is just a process that works for me. I have been draping for 3 years. I've done a little bit before, but until this I was just doing flat patterning, and I don't do much of that anymore, but it's still a process that I use, but most of the time I go for draping. But now I'm just cutting off the excess fabric, and as you saw in the sketch, this dress was originally long, so I cut it all the way down as far as it could go. And when I cut it, I didn't really care about it being too specific and too on point, because at the bottom I wanted it to be really flowy and really loose, so I wanted more volume. And so cutting it at an angle and cutting it as wide as I could really was the look that I was going for, because I wanted it to be very flowy and loose at the bottom and just fit it at the top. I didn't want it to be too form-fitting or anything like that. If I wanted it to, I would have cut it a different way and would have pinned it a different way. So yeah.
Right now, I'm kind of debating on a few things. I'm debating on, I like how it is. It's not perfect, of course, and it's gonna be longer, but this is about my height, so it works. And it's pretty flowy. This is a similar fabric, so this is pretty much how it will be. And yeah, so I like how it is. I'm just debating if I like it to be shorter, but I won't really know until I actually cut the fabric and make it with the actual fabric, because I'm like, okay, cool, I think I'm gonna initially make it without the slit, just because I'm kind of debating if I want the split or not. And if I actually end up making it shorter, I won't do a split at all, but I kind of do want it to be long. So I'm gonna drape the back, and yeah, go from there.
So now I'm draping the back, and the back is the least complicated. Let me say it like that. It's the least complicated in this dress in particular, and in most of the cases it's the least complicated because it's very like simple. Unless I'm doing a corset, and that's a different story, but this is not a corset, so I ain't gotta worry about that. But yeah, the back in this case was just literally just like a one panel, instead of it being kind of like the front where it's like the top part, the bust part, and the skirt part. This was just, the back was just all in one piece because I didn't need any kind of like specifics, details, and it's a halter dress, so it really didn't matter in this case. So yeah, I kind of just pinned it like I did the front, similar to how I did the front, and then I'm just gonna cut it at the side, similar to how I did the front, where I cut it fit. Kind of like I'm very particular with the pinning at the top until I get to the waist, and then when I get to the waist, it is no rules, kind of sort of, and I just cut it as wide as I can.
Okay, so this is the back of the dress. I know it probably looks like it does not make sense, but in my head it makes sense, and I'm gonna try to make it make sense to y'all, but as best I can, but bear with me. Okay, so this is the back of the dress where it comes down in the back where it's gonna start at. And then for this dress, I don't want it to be fitted specifically. Like, I don't really want it to be fitted. I want it to be a very loose, flowy dress. Like, the fabric is similar to this, and it's very like flowy, so that's why I use this to drape with. But yeah, so I really kind of just want it to be a little fitted in the waist, not really too crazy. I don't want it to be tight. So this is what it's gonna look like in the back. I'm gonna put a zipper in it so I can get in and out of it on the side right here, so it's gonna be easy to get in and out of. And I just pinned it right here so I can kind of see what it will look like when it's all together. And this is the front. So this is going to be on a string. So this is like my halter, and I wanted it to be, I could have did it without this, but I wanted it to be like a little slit right here, because you know, if you got it, flaunt it. You know what Beyonce said. So yeah, it's like a little opening right here, so it's gonna curve in towards my bust. Yeah, and then it's gonna be a dart right here, so that's why I painted this, because it was like a little puckly without it. And this is what the neckline is looking like on the side. So this is going to go from the top, go down around the back, and this is where the bottom piece meets this right here. And this is just the front. It doesn't really matter too much. It does not have to be perfect, because I kind of like know what to do. This is just like basically my guideline of where I want to go with this. So basically when I cut this out, I'm going to use this as like my baseline pattern for my dress. But when I cut it out, I will cut right here down, and I will go out, because it's going to be like basically an A-line dress. So I'm going to go out starting at this point right here where this where it kind of goes out at anyway. So it's going to go straight out, like literally an A shape. And so that's why this being cut all crazy does not really matter. It just shows that it's flaring out. And then the back, I will cut this on a fold, so it's going to be a straight center. Or if I wanted it to be a little bit more voluminous, I could like put this on a angle and curve it out like that, but I don't think so. I think it's gonna be just fine. So this was what the baseline looks like. Now I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut it out. Cut this out, my pattern out, and then I'm gonna use that to cut my fabric out, and I will show y'all what the fabric looks like, and then I will go ahead and cut it because I don't have a good solid angle to cut it at where y'all can see, unless I can figure something out, so we'll see. Okay, this is the fabric I'm gonna be using, and if you're looking at this and like that looks familiar and you watch my vlogs, then you know exactly that I bought this fabric a couple weeks ago, a few vlogs back, because I wanted to make a dress then, but it was just a lot going on. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for the design. I could not find shoes for it. I just was like kind of all over the place, but ended up having shoes the whole time. And yeah, so now we're gonna make a dress. I'm gonna cut it where it's gonna be running, it's gonna be running down versus vertical. It's also a little stretch, which I don't really necessarily need, but if it stretches enough, I might could like forego my zipper and not have to worry about the zipper at all. I still will put a zipper in though, but it does have a nice amount of stretch in here. But yeah, so this is the fabric, and now we're gonna cut it out.
Okay, so now I'm cutting it out, and I kind of ran into an issue with cutting it out because I didn't get to, this fabric was not long enough. Like I didn't have enough of it to cut it to the full length of the pattern that I cut out from the draping. So I kind of had to finesse it a little bit, which is not a unknown practice for me. This is not new to me, baby. I'm true to it, not into it. This is something that I've done a lot. I'm good with altering things at the last minute. That is very much in my DNA. Anyway, so yeah, so I cut the back piece out, and now this front piece, this is where I had issues with. This is where I realized, oh, I don't have enough fabric for this. So I made it do what it do, like I always do, and I just cut to, I didn't have the room to, like I made it as wide as I could, without cutting air or another piece that I needed. But honestly, this just ended up being short anyway, so if that would have came into play a little earlier, it would have saved me some fabric and some time. But trial and error. Honestly, pros and cons of being a designer. You're gonna revise a lot of things. Anyways, so yeah, I cut that out. I'm cutting these bottom pieces out. So bottom of the front, and then I cut the whole back piece out. I cut it out on the back piece is cut out on a fold line. I didn't put any zippers in the dress. Because like I just said a minute ago, the fabric is pretty stretchy, so I wasn't worrying about not being able to get into it or anything like that. And now the top bust pieces, and then I used the extra scrap fabric to make my actual scraps that go into the halter, so it can tie around my neck. I didn't show that though, so that's why I'm telling you. So now the fun part, sewing. I'm just sewing the scraps first. I tend to play Russian roulette with however I want to start. I kind of do the easiest way or what I feel like will take me the least amount of time to get done. So I just started with the scraps in this case. And yeah. And now I'm just pinning the rest of the dress together so that I alternate between pinning things. Just so most of the time I just like pin everything because I like to see things together and keep them in place, because sewing without pinning is frustrating to me. But I know those people who don't really worry about pins, they just do whatever, and that's their prerogative, and this is mine. I just like to pin things.
Okay, this is how the dress looks for right now. It's too big. I'm gonna take it in on the sides over here. I'm gonna close this up a little bit more, and it's too long. I'm not wearing heels now. Wear like a platform, a house shoe. But even like if I take these off, it's really on the floor. But I'm not wearing heels with this, so I'm gonna shorten it. I think I am gonna do the split. I'm gonna take it in on the sides, close this up, and then see how I feel. I might make it a little bit more fitted in the waist, like up in here, and then see. But I think once I get this under here, I might like it a little bit more. I don't not like it now, but just we have a little ways to go.
Okay, so now I'm sewing again and making the alterations, because as you can see, as you saw, it was very much giving moo. And that was not the vibe I was going for. You know, I very much want to be young and turned, flirty, not in the house, cooking, chilling, moo wearing. But yes, I'm now. Sorry y'all couldn't see. I didn't realize that my hair and my bun was blocking the sewing machine until editing this. So I'm sorry. But honestly, I just made the alterations and did everything that I kind of explained before that I wanted to do, just to make it more fitting for the look I was going for. Okay, so this is the final result. This is how the dress ended up looking like. In the end, I really loved it. It was very fun. My vision of what I wanted really kind of came fulfilled in this moment, and I'm so proud of it. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know if y'all like this style of video. I hope I did a good job of explaining everything, but if you want more videos like this, let me know. And yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.